The morning I wired my son $7,000, the coffee tasted burnt, and the sun came up wrong, too fast and too bright, like it was in a hurry to show me something I wasn't ready to see. My name is Ned Holloway, and at 72 years old, I've learned to listen when the day starts that way. I stood at the kitchen window of my small Ohio farmhouse, fingers curled around a chipped ceramic mug that once belonged to my late wife, Margaret. The mug had a hairline crack down the side, but it still held. So did I, mostly. $7,000. That was nearly 6 months of careful saving. Money I'd set aside after selling my old fishing boat and cutting back on everything from meat to heat. Money I told myself was worth it because it was for Eli, my grandson, bright kid, curious eyes, the kind of boy who asked, why, until you ran out of answers and then went looking for his own. Private school, my son had said over the phone, voice tight with concern. Dad, it's an opportunity, he tested in. We just need help with the enrollment and first term. I didn't hesitate, not really. Because that's what fathers do, and grandfathers too, if they're lucky enough to get the chance. What I didn't know, what I couldn't have imagined, was that the money wouldn't buy textbooks or tuition or a better future. It would buy a Louis Vuitton handbag. I raised my son Daniel alone after Margaret passed. Cancer doesn't care how good a man you are or how hard you pray. It just takes. And when it took her, it left me with a 5-year-old boy who needed dinner, homework help, and someone to show up at school plays even when the chairs were too small and the heart was too heavy. I worked 2 jobs, fixed machines by day, cleaned offices by night. I learned how to braid hair from a magazine and how to make spaghetti stretch for 3 meals. I never missed a parent-teacher conference, never missed a birthday. I taught Daniel one thing above all else. Integrity is what you have when nobody's watching. I thought it stuck. Daniel grew up smart, ambitious, and restless. He wanted more than the life I had, fair enough. He went to college, got into sales, moved to the city, married Vanessa, a woman who wore confidence like perfume and never quite looked me in the eye long enough to remember my name. They had Eli when Daniel was 32. The first time I held that boy, something in my chest unlocked that I didn't even know had closed. He smelled like milk and hope. I promised him silently that I'd do right by him. That promise is why I said yes to the money. The wire transfer went through on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, I got a call from my old neighbor Frank, who'd moved to Florida but still kept tabs on everyone through social media. Ned, he said, voice hesitant, you've seen Daniel's wife's new bag. I frowned. Bag? Yeah, she posted pictures, fancy thing, Louis Vuitton I think, costs a fortune. I laughed, uneasy, must be a knockoff. Frank didn't laugh back. Ned, he said quietly, that ain't no knockoff. After we hung up, I sat down at my kitchen table and opened my laptop. I don't use it much, mostly for email and weather, but I still remembered how to type. Vanessa's Instagram was public. There it was. Her smiling in a boutique mirror, hand resting proudly on a brown and gold handbag like it was a newborn. The caption read, "Sometimes you just have to treat yourself, blessed hard work pays off." The timestamp was 6 hours after my wire transfer cleared. My hands didn't shake. That scared me more than if they had. I called Daniel that night. He answered on the 3rd ring, voice cheerful, too cheerful. Hey Dad, what's up? I didn't raise my voice, I didn't accuse, I just asked. Daniel, I said, did you use the money I sent for Eli's school? There was a pause, long enough to hear someone laughing in the background. Vanessa, maybe, a clink of glasses. Well, he said slowly, we had to move some things around temporarily. Move them where? Another pause. Dad, it's complicated. I closed my eyes. Is Eli enrolled? Silence. Daniel. No, he admitted, not yet. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. And the bag? He sighed. Vanessa, been under a lot of stress. So has your son, I said. He snapped then, you don't understand our life, the bills, the expectations. I understand sacrifice, I cut in. I understand going without so a child can have. He didn't answer. I hung up before anger could turn into something uglier. That night I couldn't sleep. Margaret's mug sat empty on the nightstand, the crack catching moonlight like a fault line. Something had broken. I didn't ask for the money back. Not because I didn't want it, but because I wanted something else more. I wanted the truth. The following week, I drove to the city unannounced. Daniel's apartment building rose like a monument to borrowed confidence. Glass, steel, and a doorman who looked me over like I didn't belong. Vanessa answered the door. Oh, she said, surprised. Ned. Vanessa, I said, may I come in? She hesitated, then stepped aside. The apartment was beautiful, tasteful, expensive, and empty in the way places are when nothing meaningful happens inside them. Eli sat on the couch with a tablet. Hey, Grandpa, he said, lighting up. I knelt and hugged him tight. Hey, buddy. Daniel emerged from the kitchen, face pale. We didn't know you were coming, he said. I know, I replied. I gestured to the bag on the counter. Is that it? I asked. Vanessa bristled. I didn't ask for charity. No, I said calmly, you accepted it. Daniel rubbed his temples. Dad, please. Where is the school paperwork? I asked. They exchanged a look. There wasn't any. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about money. It was about values. I took Eli out for ice cream that afternoon, just the two of us. What do you want to be when you grow up? I asked him. He thought hard, a scientist or a teacher or maybe both. I smiled, school important to you? He nodded, I like learning. That settled it. The next day I met with a lawyer. Not to sue, not to threaten. To set boundaries. I created an education trust for Eli. Every dollar I'd ever saved for him and more went into an account that could only be used for his schooling, tuition paid directly, supplies reimbursed with receipts, no loopholes. When Daniel found out, he was furious. You don't trust us, he shouted over the phone. No, I said, I trust your son. He didn't speak to me for months. Vanessa blocked me. Eli sent me drawings in the mail. 2 years passed. Eli got into a magnet school, a good one, his grades soared, his curiosity never dimmed. Daniel's marriage cracked under the weight of debt and resentment. The bag was sold, the apartment downsized. One evening, Daniel showed up at my farmhouse. No warning, no pride left to protect. I messed up, he said. I nodded, I know. I forgot what mattered. I poured him coffee in Margaret's mug. Integrity, I said softly, it's what you have when nobody's watching. He cried then, not loud, just enough. Today, Eli is 12. He reads above his grade level and still asks too many questions. The trust is healthy, so is our relationship. Daniel is rebuilding, slowly, honestly. As for me, I still drink my coffee by the window, still listen to the mornings. Some lessons cost $7,000. Others are priceless. And if you're lucky, if you're willing to stand firm for the right reasons, those lessons don't end with bitterness. They end with hope.